Welcome back, Wolfpack Brolis here, and this is how to use Raikou. So there it is, we're getting into the Johto region trio legendary Pokemon, which means we're going to start seeing some really high base stat distribution. Now with Raikou, we have a lot of sweeper elements, but we also have tanky elements, and that's kind of what you see in legendary Pokemon. So 115 base speed, that's fast. 115 base special attack, that's going to hit hard, and that's really awesome right there. Also 100 on the special defense and 90 on the hit points. So 90 hit points, already talked about that, that's fairly solid, that once you're around that 90 to 100 range, you're starting to get tanky. Anything over that's like super tanky, but that paired with 100 special attack is also going to be pretty solid. So then we have 75 defense, not the greatest, but we're still looking really good, because I mean if we just kind of look at it from a sweeper aspect, we're just going to hit fast, hit hard, and at least we can endure some hits instead of just being a pure glass cannon. Looking at Raikou's typing, it's going to be a pure electric type. Just a ground weakness, kids. That's all that the electric type are about. Then we have resistance to flying, steel, and electric. So electric typing, very strong typing with all those resistances and only the one weakness. It is a common weakness, so we have to work around that. But other than that, Raikou does pretty well. Hopping into Pokemon Showdown, we're going to see that Raikou, while it does have that legendariness going for it, it doesn't have a lot of diversity. That you have a Calm Mind set, you have an offensive set, and that's pretty much it. And even then, the Calm Mind set's questionable. We don't have any sustain, and I don't like the idea of just slapping Rest Talk onto Raikou. I've seen it used. It can be successful, but you know, the main idea here is you want to be counter setup. You feel your opponent setting up, you go Substitute. That's going to kind of at least give you that extra time. You set up a Calm Mind, then you go for Thunderbolt, Hidden Power Ice, and remember, only if they're going for setup. Only if they're trying to do something crazy, that's when you use Substitute. If not, you might as well not try to trade your subs, just set up that Calm Mind and blow them up later. So the nature is also a really weird point on this. You can go hit point speed investment. That way you're just looking for outspeed. You outspeed your opponent with that Calm Mind. So now you're tankier before they hit you. And then you can also go for those attacks and try to blow them up really quickly. Or you can just go for full defensive investment. I was thinking you go 252, 252, and you can even go a bold nature. It's really, the nature is what you want it to be. If you're going speed, you can bring modest. That way, you know, your Calm Mind boosts are getting more and more from it. Or you can just try to be a huge rounded tank that, you know, by max investing into defense, your Calm Mind is going to bring your special defense super high, and now you're going to just be a frustratingly hard Pokemon knockout, and you have leftovers. That's pretty much all the sustain that you have. Now the problem about Raikou and a lot of electric type Pokemon, like if you're a mono electric type Pokemon, your coverage is weak. It's pretty much Thunderbolt, Signal Beam, Shadow Ball, and that's kind of it. Raikou also gets extra sensory, but I'd rather have Shadow Ball in that situation, and then whatever Hidden Power. Hidden Power Ice, generally going to be the go-to. Hidden Power Fire is the other go-to. Thunderbolt, and that's kind of it. So you just want to make sure you get that Calm Mind substitute rhythm down, and if you're in like a Calm Mind war, you pretty much just have to go first one to crit wins. You do have decent options with this, but the idea is, you know, go +1, +2, try to kill as many things before you go down, because you just don't have that sustain. Now looking at sweeping Raikou, it's what we were talking about. Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, Shadow Ball, Hidden Power Ice. That's pretty much the most coverage you're going to get out of Raikou. Now true, there is Aura Sphere, and true, you can have Volt Absorb in his ability, but if we're talking about 6th generation legal, Battle Spot, official rules, you can't have Volt Absorb because it's a 5th generation thing. Same with Aura Sphere. That was an event from 5th generation, so it doesn't carry over. If you want to catch your Raikou in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, it's not going to be anything special, and that's the only competitive legal one that there is. Now if you are playing like fun rules and stuff, or unofficial rules, then you can just go and use Aura Sphere and Volt Absorb, and it doesn't really change too much. You just need to plug it in where you feel. Now the best option for Raikou, Choice Specs. I feel with that 115 speed, you just max out that speed, you get as fast as possible, and then you just go for the damage. That Volt Switch gives you that good option, so you come in, Volt Switch if you don't like it. If you do like it, just use whatever move. Thunderbolt's going to be high stab with a good amount of power. Shadow Ball, Hidden Power Ice, and that's it. That's your electric type sweeping. You slap a choice item, you hope for the best, and since Raikou, like we said earlier, isn't a complete glass cannon, at least you have that 3-hit option. That, you know, you hit them, they hit you hit them, that's a knockout, you might get the outspeed into another hit, or something like that. So you get a little more durability, but at the same time, you're just almost a weaker Jolteon. And yes, before I go any further, I will mention that I do know about the fan theory where the 3 Pokemon that were revived by Ho-Oh are evolutions, because, you know, Volt Absorb, they have the same abilities and roughly the same kind of stat distribution. But anyway, when we look at Jolteon, he's faster, 130 base speed. So you can even go like Modest Nature, you're only going to be 2 points slower than a Raikou or any like base 115 speed Pokemon. And then you get to Choice Specs with higher special attack, that for 2 points less in speed, you get like 21 more points, and then that's just going to scale up with Choice Specs. So Jolteon has that glass cannon sweeping. Now, with this, you aren't going to be able to survive as many hits as Raikou, but you do get outspeed. You can run Timid Jolteon and just be better with only 5 base stat points and special attack less. So that's where Raikou finds all these really interesting things. It's a Calm Mind without Sustain, and it's a sweeper that is almost outclassed by the Pokemon that it was reincarnated from. So it's a really tricky Pokemon to consider, but nonetheless you can use it. Also gets access to Snarl, so if you want to have like a sub-Snarl in double battles, you can really do that, but it doesn't bring any heavy support like Suicune does, and we'll talk about Suicune in a couple episodes. So if you guys enjoyed this video, that's how you use Raikou, and I hope you all have a nice day.